If you're out there working hard, wondering what's next, and feeling frustrated and unclear because you're not getting the right answers, this podcast is for you. Stop guessing and start building a future you actually want to be a part of. Welcome to the Be Future Ready podcast, hosted by Sarah Price, brought to you by Living Your Strengths. And it all starts now.
So on today's episode, I'm so excited for this one. Using AI for your resume. Here's where it goes wrong. Okay, I've been so excited to talk to you about this. So let me tell you something I hear all the time. And I'm going to be honest with you, it drives me absolutely bonkers. Okay, someone finds out what I do, career coaching, resume writing, helping people actually get hired. And they look at me and they say, why would I pay you just to write my resume when I can just use AI? And I'm going to answer that question for you. So here's my answer. You're right. You can use AI. AI is not going anywhere. It's a tool, and tools are neutral. It's about how you use them. But here's what nobody is telling you. And if you're letting AI write your resume and you're hitting submit, you're drowning in a sea of people doing it the exact same way and doing the exact same thing. And recruiters can see it in under 20 seconds, usually in under 7. So today we're going to get into exactly what's happening, why it's hurting more people than it's helping, and what the smart move actually looks like, because there's a right way to use AI in recruiting and for your resume, and there's a lazy way. And yes, a lazy way. And the difference between them is getting the interview and getting ignored. So let's get into it, okay? This topic sits right at the intersection of something I'm genuinely passionate about and something I see people getting completely wrong every single day. We're talking about AI, and we're talking about your resume specifically, and where it goes wrong and why it's backfiring on people, and how to actually use it like a smart professional instead of like everyone else. So I want to start with the numbers because I'm not here to give you my opinion, although you'll hear my opinion. I'm here to show you what the research says and what other experts, aside from myself, are saying. So first, the scale of what's happening. A ZipRecruiter survey found that 53% of job seekers are already using AI tools like ChatGPT and other recruiting tools and resume writers in their job search. And LinkedIn's own research says 81% of people have used or plan to use AI in their job search. And 99% of employers surveyed, that were asked about this, reported seeing a surge in what they called, and I love this term, low effort or spammy applications. So think about what that means. Recruiters are opening their inboxes or going into their applicant tracking systems. They're seeing a wave after wave of applications that all sound the same, right? Okay. They're the same structure, the same language, the same buzzwords, the same phrasing, because they were all generated by the same tools with the same exact prompts. And executive recruiters are saying that many applications are uploading a job description and an old resume, directing an AI system to create a perfect match. And this sounds like an amazing idea. And I see it all over TikTok all the time, and it drives me bananas. So until you realize applicants are doing this en masse. So now think about it. Inboxes are flooded with thousands of eerily similar resumes. So here's the data that I really want to share with you. Resume.io surveyed 3,000 hiring managers and found that nearly half, 49%, say that they automatically dismiss AI-generated resumes. So a top resume survey of 600 hiring managers found that 33.5% of them can spot an AI-generated resume in under 20 seconds. That's 20 seconds. And here's the one that ties it all together. A resume report that came out based on surveys with over 900 HR professionals found that 62% say that AI-generated resumes without customization are more likely to be rejected. And 78% of hiring managers say they actively look for personalized details as proof that you actually care about this specific role and care about the company. So here's the brutal reality. Being generic is the same as being invisible because everyone's doing the same thing. To make it easy and be lazy. It just is. You need to do work to get recognized. And LinkedIn's own career expert told Fortune magazine exactly this. This is a quote, okay? The biggest mistake I see is people using AI to generate content that sounds like everyone else. In a competitive job market, being generic is being invisible. So you know what? I want to pause for a second and tell you something that happened recently, because maybe this is the best example I've ever seen of exactly what we're talking about. So I got a call a few weeks ago from a client, and I want to be a little intentional about how I describe this person because the details are worth really what's making it matter. So this is someone who works as a senior vice president in an AI and data role. Like, this is literally their job. They've spent their entire career and their days helping organizations figure out where AI adds value and where it doesn't. So if anyone on the planet should be able to use AI to write their own resume, it's this person, all right? So they called me to write their resume and their LinkedIn. And this is not about me. This is about him calling a human as a senior vice president of AI and data. And I'm a human. So I was really curious and I asked why, because I really want to genuinely understand. And here's what they told me. And I'm going to share some of this with their permission because it's so good. And this is literally the text that they sent to me. So if you're listening and you're not watching on YouTube, I'm going to go read from my phone. So this is what he said. My experience has been that AI makes stuff up. When I ask a certain HR AI tool, he mentions, to create a tailored version of my resume specific to a job description, it hallucinates all the time. So now I ask it to analyze my resume and make suggestions on where I should make adjustments. So let me say that again. An SVP of AI and data, the person whose entire career is built on knowing what AI can do and can't do, uses AI as an advisor, not a ghostwriter. Okay. And then they sent me something else. And it's something I keep coming back to. So again, let me read you from the next text he sends me. And I'm going back on my phone to go look for this so I can tell you this. So give me a second because we're doing this in real time. This is the next text he sends me. I spent most of my career helping organizations figure out where IA adds value and where it doesn't. So when I decided to hire a human career coach, it was a deliberate choice. I use AI every day. AI is good at a lot of tasks, research and drafting and pattern recognition and synthesizing information quickly. But career coaching surfaces everything it can't do all at once. Strategy isn't just analysis, it's judgment. It requires a human, someone who can read between the lines of what you're saying, notice what you're not saying, and push back when your thinking has a blind spot. Networking runs on trust and timing and relationships, and a person who can help you navigate those ways to model, AI never will. And accountability only works when there's a real person on the other side who knows your patterns, remembers what you committed to last week, and won't let you off the hook. AI can augment a human, but it can't be one. So this is not coming from me. This is coming from, again, a person who understands AI better than almost anyone in the workforce, and he chose a human on purpose because they knew exactly what AI couldn't do. And that's not an argument against AI. That's the clearest possible argument for knowing the difference. So now I want to tell you about someone, I'm going to call him Tyler, totally different demographic. He's 26. He recently graduated with his master's, super, super smart, real experience, 2 internships, a graduate thesis, a part-time role during school. It was really genuinely impressive. And he did what everyone told him to do. He opened up ChatGPT or any of these other resume writing tools that are out there, and he pasted the job description in, took an old resume, put some description of what he did, and he said, write me a resume, I'm putting in quotes, for this role. And he tweaked a few words and changed the dates and submitted it. So he did this for 47 jobs over 3 months. And he did have 4 callbacks, okay? But here's the thing about Tyler. His experience was real. His accomplishments were real. His qualifications matched the jobs that he was applying for. So the problem wasn't who he was. The problem was that his resume didn't sound like him. It sounded like an algorithm trying to sound like him. So when he finally got a call with the recruiter, one of those 4 interviews that I had just mentioned, the recruiter said, okay, to him, your resume reads like a template. And I almost didn't call you, but it was something in your LinkedIn that made me think that there was more to you. And it was that one comment. And that's what I want every listener right now to hear today. Because what got Tyler the callback wasn't his AI resume that 6,000 people are applying to that sound exactly the same. It was the human version of himself that existed somewhere else. And in this case, it happened to be LinkedIn. So the question is, how do you put that on paper? So let's get specific because I want you to understand this. I don't just want you to feel it. Okay? So problem number 1 is, it sounds like everyone else. And recruiters know it and they know it immediately. And AI tools are trained on the same data, which means they produce the same output over and over and over. So the words results driven, dynamic, passionate, detailed oriented, synergy, leverage, strategic, these are AI fingerprints. They're red flags to experienced recruiters, especially when it doesn't match your years of experience. So when your whole resume is built on them, it reads as effortless, but in the worst way. And a recruiting manager from Zapier, they told NBC, okay, this was a quote, "We can tell there's a certain formulaic quality, a lack of authentic voice that stands out immediately." Problem number 2, AI doesn't know your story and it can't tell. And here's something AI genuinely cannot do. It cannot know which of your experiences matter most for this specific role that you're applying to. And also, it doesn't understand what makes your career path unique. It can't frame the pivots and the transition you've made in a way that makes them assets instead of question marks. So, a career expert who runs the widely followed Ask a Manager platform said this: your resume needs to tell your story. AI doesn't know which one of your accomplishments matters most, how to frame your career transitions, or what makes you uniquely valuable to an employer. and only you know that. So if you hand the job off to a machine, that knowledge doesn't make it to the page. It just doesn't. Problem number 3, it sets you up to fail in the interview. And this is the one no one talks about and covers. And it might be the most dangerous of all 3, because if AI wrote your resume and you didn't deeply engage with every word on it, you're walking into an interview that's about to expose you. Because when a hiring manager asks you to walk them through a specific accomplishment you listed, you need to be able to tell that story in detail, with numbers and with emotion and with context. So an executive recruiter recently described it in this way: frustrations arise when elegant AI drafted resumes lead to an interview with a candidate whose communication style doesn't match the document at all. And here's what happens then. You lose the role immediately, not because you weren't qualified, but because your resume created expectations you couldn't meet out loud. So here's what I need you to hear before we get into action items. I want you to take out a notebook in a minute. And I'm not telling you to avoid AI. I'm telling you to use it like a professional, not like a shortcut. And the people winning in this job market are using AI as a tool, like the SVP I told you, not as a ghostwriter, not as a replacement for their own brain and a voice and a story. So here we go. Take out a notebook or your phone, whatever you need to do. And here are 4 things you're going to start doing differently today. Number 1, write your content first, then let AI improve it. So this is the single biggest shift you can make. Flip the process. Instead of giving AI a job description and saying, write me a resume, sit down and write your own bullet points first in your own words, rough, imperfect, and real. What did you do? What changed because of your work? What numbers can you attach to it? Then take those real bullet points and ask AI to help you tighten the language, make it more concise, match the tone of the role. That's an AI as an editor. And you can say, AI, act as an editor. That's where it will be powerful for you. So that's how you want to use it smart. So think of it this way. AI should be improving your story, not inventing one. Action item number 2. I want you to do a buzzword audit before you submit anything. Before you hit that submit button on any resume, scan it for what I call an AI fingerprint words, okay? So here's a short list: results-driven, dynamic, passionate, leveraged, spearheaded, synergized, detail-oriented, strategic thinker, proven track record. If these words are in your resume and they're not backed up by specific examples or specific numbers or stories or proof, I want you to cut them out. And I want you to replace them with real language and real action and real outcomes. So instead of results-driven professional with a proven track record, I just want you to write something like increase client retention by X% over X amount of months by redesigning the onboarding process. That's a sentence no AI hallucinated for you. That's your work. Okay, action item number 3. I want you to tailor every application and use AI to help you do it faster. And here's where AI actually saves you real time in the right way. So for every job you apply to, you use AI to analyze the job description, paste it in and ask, what are the 5 most important skills and priorities in this job posting? Then go back to your resume and make sure your experiences speak directly to those 5 things. AI is really incredible at identifying patterns in language. Use it as a mirror to show you what the employer cares about. And then you do the work of making your resume reflect real experiences in those terms. So it's not just cutting corners. That's where you're going to be strategic. Okay. Action item number 4. Make sure your LinkedIn tells the story your resume starts. This is so key. People call me and they're like, Sarah, can you help me write my resume for you? And I'm like, sure. Can you give me your LinkedIn address? And it's empty. And I'm like, you really need your LinkedIn done for you. And they're like, nah. Okay. You can have an incredibly done resume. And if your LinkedIn is blank, you're invisible. So remember Tyler, that example. The one thing that saved him was his actual LinkedIn, because that's where his actual voice came through. So here's what I want you to do. Read your resume, then read your LinkedIn profile. Do they sound like the same person? Do they tell a connected story? Would a recruiter read both and feel like they're getting to know someone real? And if the answer is no, that's your project this week. Your LinkedIn About section should sound like how you describe yourself out loud. Not formal, not templated, not bullets. It really needs to sound human, because so many things are written by AI. You're going to be invisible because now we're turning, right? We're going from using AI so heavily to now saying recruiters and executive recruiters and other professionals are like, we're getting inundated with AI fake stuff. So now we're saying, where are the humans? And that's what the professionals are going to look for. So it really needs to be human. And according to JobGether's research, LinkedIn is where hiring decisions begin. So before your resume is ever opened, and I talk about this on other podcasts, your profile is the first impression. You need to make it yours. And here's what I want to leave you with. AI is not the enemy. Laziness is the enemy. AI is a power tool. It's like any other power tool. In the hands of someone who knows what they're doing, it builds something incredible. But in the hands of someone who's just rushing through a job, it's really doing damage. So your career is not a mass production operation. You're not a commodity, and your resume shouldn't read like one. So when a recruiter opens your resume, they're asking one question: is there a real person behind this page who's actually worth my time? Because out of thousands of resumes, really only like 25 might get viewed by a recruiter. And if they have a bunch of open positions, like 10 or 15 open positions, they're spending 6 seconds on your resume and they really can only interview the top 6 or 7 people. Because take 15 open roles times 6 candidates per role for initial rounds of interviewing, right? That's over like 70 interviews for 15 positions. They can't interview 100 people for one job. So if you get in there and you are not telling your story, you don't match your resume, your LinkedIn doesn't match who the person you are ruining your brand in that face-to-face interview. And you're ruining the potential that even if you're not a fit for that job, all of their recruiter friends are going to call them and say, Sarah, have you interviewed anyone lately for administrative assistant? I'm really struggling to find someone for our organization. Well, if you just came in with a fake resume and you can't speak to your resume, right? I'm not referring you to that person. And now you've lost those referral opportunities. So I really hope you're taking this seriously, because recruiters are asking, again, is there a real person behind this page who is worth my time? They're going to get annoyed and frustrated if they're sitting in an interview with you and you're not coming across human. So in their gut, in under 20 seconds, they can tell, and you're done before you started. But if they open it and they feel, wait, this person's actually thought about this role, this is specific, this is real, I want to learn more, that's when you get the call. Okay? So I want you to do the buzzword audit. I want you to write your content first. I want you to use AI as your editor, not your author. I want you to make sure LinkedIn tells the story in your resume. And you need to know that you're competing against hundreds of people who copy pasted their way into the pile, and you don't need to be. Stand out, be specific, be real, be you. And if you're exhausted or overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, just reach out. So before I go, this podcast is something I do because I genuinely believe in this mission, and I believe in you, and it takes real time and real resources to keep it going every week. So if this has been valuable to you, if it's made you think differently, if it's helped you take a step forward, or just made you feel a little less alone in figuring this out, you can support the show by buying me a coffee. And it's literally a few dollars, and it goes directly towards keeping this podcast alive and growing. And the link is in the show notes, and I would be so, so grateful. So I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for joining us. Now, take the momentum and share this episode with someone in your world who is ready to stop guessing and start building. For personalized one-on-one strategy, book your free consultation with Sarah at livingyourstrengths.com. New episodes drop every Monday, so hit follow and never miss a breakthrough. Now go live in your strengths. This podcast is filmed at the Make Your Day Richer studio and edited by Richard Wilmore.